No matter what people want you to believe, don't ever.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Alana here. Welcome back to 3 Degrees of Love Divination. So if you're new here to my channel, welcome. I am Love. Of course, I said my name is Alana. I am a social worker as well as a Heoka empath. I'm an advocate for mental health. And I'm very much a promoter of therapy, healing, love, raising our vibrations, our frequency, going within, introspection, healing. I think I may have said that already. And also I love tarot. Welcome to my channel. I hope that you do enjoy my video and will like, share, and subscribe. And of course, anything that you see here, you want to know more of, feel free to leave a comment down below. And so, yeah, with all that being said, let's get started. So the first thing that as you can see, I still have, yes, the beautiful by Rune Vervain, the Wisdom of Pooh tarot cloth here. Also, you can pre-order the Wisdom of Pooh and Tigger 2 on their website, as well as the Earth, Moon, and Shadow Oracle, second edition with updated cards. I can't remember how many new cards, but yes. So definitely I will have all the links in the description box for you to go and check out down below. Yeah, some great things coming from Arun and Vervain, and I'm absolutely, loving working with the deck and the book. And here's the tarot bag. I love the new bags that I've been seeing as I've been sort of stalking the website, if you will. But yeah, and I've been like really on the fence about whether or not I want to get the big guidebook, but to be honest, it is quite pricey, and I can't really afford that right now. So, but I have been enjoying reading the stories and the descriptions for the cards in the big guidebook. I do have the PDF that was also lovingly gifted to me as well. I realized that I can't actually download it on my phone. I'm sorry, I'm an Android user and always will be, but I can do it on my iPad. So I do have it up and use it on my iPad. So, and it's great. The whole setup is just mwah. So anyways, but that's actually not really what I wanted to talk about today, but I will always go on about Rune Vervain because yeah. Yeah. Hi Serafina. Hi Kat. Hi Angel. Yes. So, but what I actually did want to show you, I managed to get a lot of stuff done today, even though I was like kind of feeling down yesterday and confused and miserable. But I also realize, as I'm really sort of really waking up to myself, if you will, and connecting with my higher self and stuff, and also because it's this time of year, it's the veil is thinning, right? Or we're coming up to Halloween. I haven't changed, of course, as you can see, because I still have Winnie-the-Pooh here. But I'm still in fall mode, if you will. So I am still enjoying that, plus all the premieres of my favorite shows. There's, even though, I've had the unfortunate tower of my life and been stuck in pretty much inside, because of what I've been through, and been severely isolated, surviving a pandemic and all of that. I've had a lot of time to go within and to really, see things, and I guess too, it kind of blows my mind a little bit too, because I'm learning about things myself, right? Like, essentially, I guess I can say that I've been social working my own self, if you will, if that's a thing. And I'm in therapy so regularly. So yeah, I've had to spend a lot of time soul searching, dark night of the soul, like journaling, the introspection, the really diving deep shadow work. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I've when I talk about walking through the fire in so many ways, what? Okay. So, yes, as you can see, I have the Friends Oracle, and I'm still getting to that, but there's just a lot. Like I said, the veil is thinning. Ooh, yeah. And, as I said at the beginning, I'm Hayoka empath. So, so some things, let's start with TV shows to watch that I've been enjoying. So Law and Order, the series, I've always, right? Law and Order. So Law and Order, the original one, SVU, which is my favorite, and like Olivia Benson. Okay. And then Organized Crime. Well, that is Elliot Stabler. And I know somebody who's probably going to probably see this video is going to know exactly what I am talking about. Because I had a dream about it, and yes, you will be seeing this during the day, regardless of when I'm filming this. I am talking about my dreams during the day. And I dreamt, actually, I do dream a lot about Law and Order and certain scenarios, but the twist is the characters are in the dream, but the situations are mine, and it plays like a movie, and then like other weird things sort of happen. But anyways, so okay. Okay, that was weird. My TV just went off. Anywho, I so on my TV, you probably, well, you can't see, but I have binaural beats that play in the background. Well, I don't know if you can hear that in the audio, because I'm not using a mic or anything. It's just literally my phone. But the screen just went blank. So, okay. Anywho, so, but I guess the episode that just recently played on Thursday, just go watch the show, because there's a message in there for some people to really pay attention to, and in regards to morale, right? And so anyhow, also, in my meditation that I had been doing just prior to turning on this video, yes, I am a Bible reader, and I, during my meditation, was reading Psalm 90 through 106, and reading that passage during my meditation really struck at me, because so the other thing I would recommend, go watch Testament, the story of Moses. It was on Netflix. I don't know if it's still on there, but if it is, you should watch it, because yeah, and the similarities that seem to overlap from what I was reading from NIV, which I would say is probably mind you, because I like NIV, and I'm very particular in, like when I sit comfortably in what I, right? Remember, I also work in a Christian bookstore, so I know there's very, very many versions to, yeah, anyways. Anywho, yeah. And then watch Testament Moses, and then comment down below and tell me what are your thoughts, because I'm seeing that an overlap into what is currently going on in our world. As I always talk about, we're in a global mental health crisis, right? This year, right? Just, hold on, I can't remember the date. But anyways, on the 10th of October, right? There we celebrated World Mental Health Day. I'm a mental health advocate. I am a social worker. I burnt out in my field. Okay, so anywho, let's kind of sort of get back. I think that's all that I remember that I wanted. Oh, no. Okay. So just to talk about some mental health awareness statistics for you, that I recently found. And 1 in 5 Americans experience mental health concerns, while 1 in 6 young people experience a major depressive episode. One in 20 have lived with a serious mental illness. And as of 2020, so at the start of the pandemic, 1 in 5 Canadians, as it's been reported, suffer from depression, anxiety, or PTSD. As of 2021, it changed to 1 in 4. When I said 1 in 6 American youth, the ages is from 6 to 17 years old. And in the UK, it's 1 in 7. According to WHO, World Health Organization, close to 2/3 of mental illnesses go untreated, with many not even being diagnosed. For those that are diagnosed, 28% don't receive treatment. And 50% of all lifetime mental illness begin at age 14, with 75% by age 24. So just some food for thought when I'm talking about when I say we're in a global mental health crisis. And that's only what I've been able to gather so far. So when I say I'm a mental health advocate, I speak both from personal experience as well as professional. And as I have strived to have this channel, it's to help bring awareness and to help break that stigma, right? Both being open and honest as I am, with integrity of self as well as others, will be open, to talk about what I've personally had to deal with, but also what I've either come across both in my personal and professional career. And, like I said, experience. And, with expressing these things to you and the importance of World Mental Health Day and why all of those things are, important to me, it's because I see the suffering. I know what I went through, and I know what I see daily when I look out and observe the world. And so knowing what's going on right now you know, that healing aspect, you know, for self, and, you know, that drive to, you know, for me to do that for myself, and seeking that professional help. With my professional experience, want to be able to inform, and in the most loving way, with the highest of integrity, be able to share with you, you know, some techniques and things that have been working. And that includes tarot and oracle. And how I've worked with it in conjunction with, you know, with myself as a professional seeking professional help, and will always recommend and advocate for that. And, you know, even with that being said, you know, yes, I am in Canada. I am based in Canada. But wherever my videos need, you know, whoever needs to hear the message and benefits from it, anyone, wherever you are, if you have any sort of concern or looking for whatever sort of professional advisement, if you will, for local resources within your area, and me having that experience to be able to know how to navigate to find certain information, you're welcome to reach out to me anytime. My contact info is always linked in the description box. You know, I guess in the words of Michael Jackson, the late Michael Jackson, but then I've been seeing, okay, anyways, I won't even get into that. I want to heal the world and make it a better place for you and for me, and for the entire human race. I know what I've been through. And I feel, as an empath, I can feel what many have been through too. And so whatever info, whatever experience and expertise and things that I've learned, I want to lovingly share it with you. So, you know, that's what all, you know, for me, my channel represents and, you know, is all about. Anyways, so the Friends Oracle, and you may see how a little bit of the view has changed. Some things I've put some decks away and shifted things around a little bit, and so yeah. So these are the Friends Oracle, the one with all the oracles. Where's the box? Because I still have the Playful Heart here. I haven't switched over to, you know, spooky season stuff yet. My brain, my OCD brain likes to take its merry time to, you know, get through things anyways, but very as you can see, like multiple, like I said, I use multiple decks, so it's like, you know, anyway. So the Friends Oracle. I have been a long-term fan of the the series Friends. Yeah, I grew up on it. I think it's, you know, especially if you're Gen X and, you know, or millennial, Generation Y, you know, AKA, I guess you can say. The series has been a big staple in our lives. And so, you know, for this to come out was really cool. And like I said, I was at my local dollar store and found this, which is for the series Friends, and I'm like, I think it's the perfect size to fit like the oracle and maybe some crystals or something, right? Like like I had recently gotten the deck because it recently came out too, and then pop goes the weasel at my local dollar store. Okay. And then so now considering that I'm a big collector of cards, playing cards, and I have been even before I, you know, dove into tarot, I don't recall if I've ever had a collection or any deck of Friends for the series playing cards. But of course, when the Oracle came out, then I had to get the playing cards. So, and there's quite a few. Well, actually, that I know of, that there's 4 right now. At least when I check Amazon, Amazon.ca. That's so. That one. And I'll show you, and then that one, and then this one. And this one actually has another edition, where it is. I don't know if you remember, maybe if from I believe I showed it from a video last December, I believe, when I was using the Grinch playing cards, and I had 2 sets of them, and one was in the shape of the Grinch. Well, this one has another edition where it's actually the shape of the frame. And I'm thinking about getting that one too. So yeah. Anyway, that's my nerdiness. And yes, I have the complete series on DVD. I've seen, you know, the entire series, although I haven't watched it lately, but it's yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so, you know, shout out to all the other Friends fans, you know, and of course, as I'm filming this over the course of, you know, I guess the our Canadian Thanksgiving weekend, you know, it's just my inner child's head is spinning, if you will, or inner teenager, I guess, is spinning with nostalgia. So like, anyways, let me show you the cards. Let me just move the boxes out of the way. Okay, that's not gonna work. Okay. Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. Okay, here we go. Okay, so here's the Oracle deck. Now, of course, I've been using it, so it's not in order at all. But yeah. Yeah, like it's kind of weird because I think now that I'm flipping through the cards here and I'm you know, full of nostalgia, you know, tickles, I realize that as I'm another part of my brain is like going through my collection of playing cards, and in my head, like, you know, and I have lots. I have lots. I have lots here where I am, and I have lots still over at my mother's place. Anyways, and yeah, out of all of what I can recall in my head, I don't think I have friends playing cards. So, you know, and considering how much of a fan I've been and for how long I've been collecting playing cards, I'm surprised. Like, there's a part of me that's like, huh? Really? Are you sure? But I'm pretty certain. Like, I mean, I know my collection. And I'm a huge fan of Friends. I mean, I grew up with Star Wars and things like that. And I mean, but I'm not as, you know, a big fan of Star Wars per se, other than the fact that it's stapled into, you know, my childhood and, you know, whatever. I have Star Wars playing cards. I have several, actually. So the fact that I have absolutely, or had, you know, before recently, hadn't had any Friends playing cards is sort of, you know, bewildering to me. But yeah. Anyways, but you know, this is, you know, if you, like I said, if you're a huge fan, you know, let me know. And if you have the Oracle deck, you know, tell me how you've been enjoying it, right? And then so that's the Oracle deck. And then the cards. So, and these are the cards. And so this one is actually smaller than standard playing card. This is actually, I would what I think they would call bridge-sized playing cards. It's just so yeah, if you can see the difference there. And from what I recall in the history of it, bridge-sized playing cards came about for, you know, back then it was a sort of feminized version of playing cards. And it was so to fit smaller, essentially smaller hands, you know, because I guess statistically, you know, female hands are, you know, tend to be slender, or, you know, and smaller in size than, you know, than a man's. So, on average. Anyways, so yeah, so that's like mine. That was from part, because, you know, I didn't really dive that deep into it till like really, really, you know, research the history on that, but that was one of the things that I found to what the difference was between bridge and standard poker playing sized playing cards. Yeah. So anyways, that, and I think too the bridge playing cards is more of a British thing, I think, right? But in America, anyways. Well, I mean, American cars are like, you know, like big cars, and I know there's how small in the UK there's. So anywho, so these are the backs of the cards. Actually, no, these are the backs of this one. Waddingtons of London. So yeah. Anyways, so that's that one. And then this one, which is the one that I said that has the framed edition version of it. So like the playing cards are actually cut in the shape of the frame. And then the, you know, standard. And so, you know, and even, you know, I guess I'll show it to you with all the, here, let's see. Here, let me zoom in a little bit. Give me a minute. All right. Hopefully that's good. Okay. So, yes, these are in order. I haven't shuffled these ones yet, but, you know, we have the jokers. Aces. Right? And I just think it's really cute and cheeky with the pictures and stuff, right? Like, it's just like like this to me right here. It's wow. Okay. To me says actually, well, there's I guess two messages, like a personal one and then like one directed to me, but I guess the outer aspect of the world, if you will, and, you know, collectively speaking, is, you know, the idea of globally breaking the stigma, community, breaking that, you know, that divide and building a better connection with, you know, with self and others. Because I see this, the idea of monkey see, monkey do kind of thing, right? You know, what you see is what you get. And then, of course, for a person like the Hekoya empath, and if you know the history of the Hekoya empath, you know, it's considered the sacred clown, and then, you know, the aspects of, you know, the type of people, you know, which to me sort of translates to the narrow divergence of the world versus the neurotypical, and the disconnect of society as a whole. And it's about checking ourselves, healing ourselves, that we can, come back in unity with one another, building connections. It's also 222 of spades. And if you're into numerology, you want to check that, the angel message for yourself. But in the minor arcana, for those that don't know tarot, but those that know tarot will know what I mean. The equivalent in a playing card is the 2 of swords. The swords represent the mind, what we think, what we know, right? Our mentalities. And just to really understand what I was saying about even just the history of the show and what it represented. And, in the staple of the X and Y generation, right? Generation X and millennials. Anyways, to me, that says that, especially in the fact that we're in the middle of a karmic year, and like I said, the veil is thinning, yeah? So the fate of our future depends on those 2 generations being able to uphold humanity. We do it. How do we do it? By healing ourselves and being the karmic breakers. The karmic cycle breakers. By healing ourselves so that we're raising our collective vibrations back to our truth, which is that we are all love. We come from love, we go back to it. And so it's about doing the mirror work, taking a look at ourselves, healing our mental health, seeing and opening our third eye to see the truth of ourselves and the effect that we have on each other. And balancing that cycle of that balance, I guess, biologically, chemically within self, the yin and yang within self, right? That brings us, helps us to complete and fulfill whatever individual destiny for our highest and greatest good and everyone else that we were meant to live out. It is our will to love and will for change. that will, and that connectivity and understanding and empathy, instead of, taking our pain and using it as a shield to disconnect from one another. Look at taking that time to slow down and really pay attention to what is going on, instead of putting selfish blinders on. Taking that initiative to really heal self within body, mind, and spirit. The will comes from our spirit. To heal our minds and bring back into alignment with heart. The blood that runs through all of our veins. That we are connected to by belly button to what has come before us. Getting to the bottom and the root of things and healing those generational woundings. And understanding those patterns. One cannot do that by themselves. The image of the truth of who we are comes in bringing together those shattered pieces, reflections of ourselves. Then we can see clearly outward to understanding what we're seeing in front of us and understanding what others are trying to tell us, what we need to communicate with one another. And doing so with the utmost and highest integrity, right? In balance with self and others. I truly, truly, truly believe that. Anyways, haha, wow. Okay, so desserts. Like, I feel like oh wait, how did I end up with the 4? That's the 3. Whoops, my bad. What did I do? Okay, there we go. I think this is like, I think I said in a previous video, I compared myself to Ross and the Scholar, and to see that it's, like I said, I haven't shuffled these cards. I'm just showing it to you for the first time, and how in alignment it is with the 333. I'm very OCD, so like this is just tickling my insides, but in the best way possible. And just feels like it's in, like, you know, like my life path number is 3. There's a reason why I named my channel 3 Degrees of Love. Anyways, yeah. Okay. So, I wanted to, from the Tarot Activity book, published here under Andy Matzner, but is known as Drea Bloom. And their mind, anyway, I truly, when I say I love this person, and I haven't even, you know, in person met them, but I appreciate what they've done here. And it's through the mind that I see who they are for who they really are, no matter how they choose to represent themselves. And that acceptance and understanding, I feel personally, is how I can say what I say. Because I know to truth of heart who I am. And it's only through the healing work that I've been doing for self that I've come to learn the truth of who I am and why I've always been the way that I am. I also know it's the very will and determination of heart that has always kept me within that alignment. But it's because of that that I've also, and I guess maybe, I don't know, just how I had to break myself to respect myself. And to learn and wake up and remember who I am. Anyway. Okay. So, with that being said, I'm sorry. La 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 la. I wanted to talk about boundaries. That was the activity here. Whoa, wait, now I lost it. Give me a second. Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay. So, okay. So, a reflection for those of you who tarot. Here's the activity. Boundaries. Objective: to learn what boundaries are and why they are important to your well-being. Background. In general, a boundary refers to a dividing line that marks the limits of an area. But there are other dimensions to this idea, as boundaries also mark where one person ends and another begins. In a physical sense, a healthy boundary is the space around yourself that provides a feeling of security and safety. Psychologically, personal boundaries are the standards, guidelines, and limits you have which protect you from being manipulated or exploited by others. They provide a sense of the kinds of behaviors you will or will not tolerate from other people. And the boundaries you have determine how you'll respond to how others treat you. Strong boundaries allow you to deliberately choose who you will and will not allow into your personal space. These standards are important because they give you a clear sense of who you are, reinforcing the fact that you are an individual separate from everyone else. Through our actions and behaviors, we communicate to others what our boundaries are and whether they are strong or weak. Ideally, people will respect and adhere to our boundaries as long as we are able to clearly communicate what they are. You might be wondering how our boundaries come to be created. They are typically established early in our lives. Boundaries develop from a mixture of personal experience and social conditioning, which then led to the formation of beliefs about ourselves and the place we occupy in the world. Sometimes as children, we are brought up by caregivers who do not respect our boundaries. Continual violations of personal integrity, such as abuse or neglect, lead to soft or weak boundaries. This leads to an unstable, diminished sense of identity. As we learn to believe that our needs are not important enough to be met, we have difficulty expressing our feelings because we are living in an environment in which they are not respected. Weak boundaries make it difficult to stand up for ourselves, and as adults, we often become people pleasers or develop codependency on others. On the other hand, sometimes it is necessary to build high walls around ourselves for protection. If we felt as children that we had to protect ourselves from abuse at all costs, then we might have developed a defense system that was very tight and secure. A person with rigid boundaries is closed off from other people, both physically and emotionally. This type of psychic defense allows us to avoid becoming involved with others because we are afraid of getting hurt, but then can also lead to isolation both from oneself and others. In an ideal world, we were able to develop flexible boundaries as children, which we could soften or harden as necessary, depending on the situation. This is the healthiest option because it means we have a strong identity. We know who we are and believe that others should treat us with respect. We also are familiar with our limits and do not have difficulty saying no when necessary. To think about your own boundaries, please answer the following questions in your journal. Do you ever ignore your own values or beliefs in order to please others? Do you allow other people to define who you are? Do you depend on others to fulfill your needs? Do you feel guilty when you say no to another person? Do you feel badly about speaking up when you are treated poorly or disagree with someone? Boundaries are related, our needs, and whether we know how to get them met. Telling the word need comes from the West Saxon Old English noun need, meaning necessity, compulsion, duty. It is also related to the Czech nighty, which means to languish. I'm not entirely sure if I'm pronouncing that right. I hope so. Yeah. A need, whether physical or emotional, is something that is necessary for a person's well-being. When a need is fulfilled, we feel healthy and satisfied. Unfulfilled needs leave us with ill health, frustration, and resentment. As humans, we all share the physical needs of oxygen, water, and food. Different emotional needs, however, will resonate either more strongly or weakly with us because each person is unique, but in varying degrees. Most of us have a need to feel safe and secure, connected with others, acknowledged, a sense of control, loved and accepted, that that there is meaning in our life. As I mentioned above, our boundaries were often originally generated in response to needs that did not get addressed when we were children. Because they were not filled, these needs continue to these needs continue to haunt us throughout life and into adulthood. To get further in touch with your own needs, please consider these questions in your journal. What did you need as a child from your parents/caregivers that you did not receive? Create a fantasy in which you receive the perfect nurturing from your parents. What would you have been given? What would you have heard your parents say to you? Can you accept having needs without feeling selfish? If not, what is it that you are telling yourself that prevents you? From whom did you learn those messages? Think about the following beliefs and whether you were able to develop them as a youngster. I have the right to my own opinions. I have the right to feel safe. I have the right to be myself. I have the right to ask for what I need. I have the right to make mistakes. I have the right to be worthy of love. If you were to create a personal Bill of Rights today, what would it consist of? See if you can come up with a list in your journal. Process. Please go through your tarot deck and search for the following. 1. A card that is, to you, an example, a person who possesses soft or weak boundaries. 2. A card that demonstrates rigid boundaries. In your journal, please list the advantages, if you believe there are any, or having soft boundaries. Next, list what the disadvantages might be. Then please do the same for rigid boundaries. Are there any benefits to those kinds of boundaries? Any liabilities? Finally, go through the deck once more and see if you can find a card that represents having healthy, flexible boundaries. What is it about this card that resonates with you? You should now have 3 cards. Please take one more moment to study each one before returning them to your deck. It is now time for you to reflect on the current state of your own boundaries. Are they soft, rigid, or flexible? Go through your tarot deck and choose a card that represents your current self in terms of your boundaries. The card does not necessarily have to contain a picture of a person. Any image is fine as long as you feel you have a connection with it. Perhaps the card you have chosen illustrates a boundary system that you can see is not ideal for you. If that is the case, please look through your deck for a tarot card whose energy could assist you in installing and maintaining healthy boundaries. Then once you have done that, go through the deck again and pick a card to represent a version of your future self that possesses boundaries you can feel good about. Your final task is to decide what to do with the cards you have chosen. Let your intuition guide you as to how use the cards you have chosen to remind you of the importance of having strong yet flexible boundaries. I love that. Anyway, so I'm gonna finish going through the cards. I think what I'll do is probably overlap this with the story as I go along. Here, so that I, excuse me. Maybe put some music over. We'll see. Sorry about that. I might have to cut out some of this. So, anyways, here we go. In which Kanga has a night out. Kanga couldn't remember the last time she heard her name without the addition of Rue's. It was always Kanga and Rue. This Kanga and Rue that. Kanga and Rue always. I used to keep books and snacks in my front pocket sighed Kanga, rubbing the pouch on her stomach. Now it's just enough room to carry Rue and no room for myself. So when one of Rabbit's many relatives mentioned a crafting meetup for single parents in the 100-acre wood, Kanga agreed to attend, even though it made her extremely nervous to meet new animals. She needed to remember what it felt like to be Rue-less. Who-less? Squeaked Rue. You-less, dear, laughed Kanga, hugging her springy son. But just for tonight. So that night after bath time, Piglet arrived at 7 o'clock sharp to babysit. Watch me jump, squeaked Rue. He promptly tripped on his pajamas and fell onto one of the 8 pillows Piglet had hastily placed around the room for safety. Don't worry about a thing, said Piglet as Kanga made her way out the door. I may only be a little taller than Rue, but I brought my step stool in case we need anything on the high shelf. The crafting group met once a month by the picnic tree, a large oak north of the sandy pits where Rue liked to play. I only have to stay for a half hour, an hour at most. whispered Kanga encouragingly to herself as she made her way to the meeting spot. Sitting around a large stump were a heron, a marmot, a green woodpecker, a pine marten, and a rather grand-looking badger in a tuft hat. The pine marten, a friendly mammal wearing sensible shoes, was laying out glasses and long leaves of charcuterie around the table. Kanga could feel nerves churning knots in her stomach as she stared at the unfamiliar animals, unsure of how to approach. She stood awkwardly under the tree until they waved her over. "Hello, you must be Kanga," welcomed the marten. "I'm Fern, and we're so glad you can join us for our little get-together." "I'm a little late," apologized Kanga. "No one's late, except me, of course." "I'm Pecky," flitted the flustered woodpecker, scrambling with a basket of knitting. She had 5 eggs carefully strapped in a sling around her chest. "Henry's supposed to take the night shift, but you know how it is when something comes up. I couldn't find a sitter on such short notice, and if one of these gets cold, well, I don't even want to think of it." "I thought we agreed," exhaled the badger in a husky manner. "No children." "I suppose I'm going to leave them all by themselves," snapped Pecky. "Who are they going to bother? They're eggs," squawked Karen the heron as she pulled a tote bag of magazines and decoupaging tools from under her wing. "Don't mind her, Pecky. We're parents. We understand." "We aren't all parents," murmured the badger into her glass as she took a sip. Caretakin' counts, yelled the lady marmot, slamming her wooden umbrella against the stump for emphasis. "My Uncle Fergus takes up just as much of my time as the weans do ye. I won't have it, Agatha." "Of course Fergus counts, Fiona," soothed Fern, who had clearly organized the event. "Agatha, play nice, or we won't invite you anymore." "So," asked Kanga softly. She felt a little intimidated by such strong personalities. "What is it that you're all making?" "I'm doing watercolors," hummed Fiona after shooting a dirty glare at the badger. "Mind you, I'm not very good." "It's not about being good or bad," reminded Fern. "It's about making things and spending time with one another. I'm crocheting a terrible new hat." I'm sure it's not terrible, smiled Kanga. And I, said Agatha haughtily as she poured herself a second glass of brambleberry wine, I create an atmosphere. Karen snorted through her long beak. Agatha, I think you'd get along very well with my donkey friend, chuckled Kanga. They don't introduce us, sighed Agatha dramatically. I'm hardly in the market for new friends. Kanga pulled a sewing kit from her pouch and began embroidering her old denim shirt with daisies. She surprised herself by deciding to stay after an hour went by, then another. Plates of berries and nuts circulated the table, in between thick slices of frosted carrot cake. Cups of carbonated sap water and wine were filled and refilled. As the sun set, Fiona Fern lit candles that brought a cozy, helpful glow to their crafting and snacking. Kanga usually felt more comfortable on her own, focusing on her inner thoughts and ideas. But that night, she enjoyed listening to the others chatter around her. She tuned in and out of the conversation, offering a quick comment or joke whenever she felt up to it. I'm glad to see you making something for yourself, cheered Pecky. The first few times here, most of us kept making things for our children. Not just children, insisted Fiona, splashing her paints with indignation. Some of us made them for difficult elderly family members. Hush. No one's slighting you or your mad uncle, chided Karen. Is that all right? Said Kanga, thinking maybe she should have brought that quilt for Rue she hadn't yet finished. Of course, said Fern warmly. You need to make things just for you, things you'll enjoy. You've got to make time to do special things for yourself. That's what I always say, drawled Agatha. The moon was high in the sky by the time Kanga bounced her way home, promising to bring her specialty violet loaf to the next craft gathering. Oh, sorry. In no time at all, she arrived back home to find an exhausted Piglet wiggling off her couch. Her place was roughly tidied up from what appeared to be a trying evening. Rue was good, except he wouldn't sleep, explained Piglet. So we tried jumping rope, then jumping pillows, then jumping Piglet. That's when he jumps over me while I lie down on the floor, too exhausted to move. I still couldn't get him to lie down. Finally, I called Owl over to tell Rue a bedtime story. He's been asleep ever since. Okay. Owl's helpful that way, smiled Kanga, who had invited Owl over herself many nights when Rue wouldn't lie down. Piglet, would you mind watching Rue again next week or so? Not at all, squeaked Piglet. I'd be happy to come by any time, that is, if you don't mind, if I ask Owl or Pooh to help get Rue's bounces out. So it came to pass that every other week or so, Rue would spend an evening with his great friend Piglet. And if he was feeling particularly bouncy with Owl and Pooh, with Owl and Pooh as well, on those nights, Kanga would go to spend time with her new friends at the crafting circle. Or, if she was feeling burnt out from socializing, she would relax in the grass and enjoy spending time alone. After all, said Kanga to herself, Rue with or Rue-less, I am excellent company. And so that, folks, is the Friends playing cards and Oracle deck. I think it would be cool if there was a tarot. I won't be surprised if that comes along very soon, actually. So, yeah. There you go. So, with all that being said, I'm not sure how long this video is going to end up being. I shall see. And you shall see too. And so, of course, if you like my video, please like, share, and subscribe. You know, I hope to lovingly and, you know, to not only be able to share a safe space of, you know, breaking the stigma of how we treat ourselves and treat each other. You know, it isn't just about our own self-worth, but the self-worth of the whole. You know, raising that vibration and that integrity of for self and others. This is a karmic year, and really, excuse me, diving deep into, you know, the depths of self to gain that perspective and understanding and seeing, you know, the parts of us that we've buried that has affected, you know, our relation to others, you know, maybe misinterpreted things based on past karmic woundings. You know, are we enforcing healthy boundaries for self and others, that balanced of of emotions, the yin and yang, right? The you know, the soft and weak, sorry, the strong and weak you know, boundaries, you know, and are they healthy? Where, you know, how do we determine in a particular situation, you know, how we're enforcing, you know, our boundaries, and how is our maybe past traumas and woundings, you know, sort of distorting our perception of that against self and others, you know. Excuse me. You know, confronting, you know, our deepest traumas. And, you know, if you remember in past videos, I talk about the idea of saboteurs. And that was from Sherrod, I forget the last name. I'll put it up on the screen, and the concept and what, you know, that it had on you know, lowering the value of self and the outlook, you know, and his true potential to what he, you know, outputs, you know, and builds for self and others, and provides for others, supports, you know, others. Anyway, with all that being said, I love you. I do what I do because of the love that I have for you. I had to learn the value of self and remember my value the hard way, because what I have prided myself on being able to do best, I did it to the extreme against self, because traumatic behavioral patterns that I fell into, you know, trauma response. I just blanked out there, excuse me, you know, category I fell into, and I became that people pleaser because, you know, that's what the environment I was conditioned into, you know, also with the teachings of you know, of distorted dogmatic religion that I guess enforce that sacrificial idea, but that was disconnected from the understanding that, you know, valuing myself too, the self-acceptance, the sort of forced upon expectation, if you will, of performance that I guess sort of sent things in overdrive. But it's that's also that's a long standing sort of enforced value, you know. Anyway, it was that expectation that what I had to give was never good enough. So I pushed. And in the end, when I needed the most help, I was physically malfunctioning. And those that demanded for me, those that, you know, anyway. When you really go through a dark night of the soul and you and have to really take a look to the depths of what, you know, you learn the value. You learn the value. Anyway. No one left behind. You know, it's... Anyways. So, with all that being said, I am love and so are you. As I see myself as human, I know you are too. Your self-worth is always important, but always remember that in the pursuit of your self-worth and understanding your self-worth, don't forget to value the self-worth of others too. We are all connected. I know that the behavioral pattern of so-called healing is only halfway when you're only willing to see half of the picture. To see the full perspective, you have to be willing to do the shadow work and dive deep. So please take care of yourselves and each other. And while you're at it, help me out too, to continue to give my love to you in this manner. By liking, sharing, and subscribing. And not forgetting to hit that notification bell so that you're always alerted when I put out my next video. Thank you for watching and listening. I love you. Please let me know how this video went for you. Also, please check out my earlier videos down below. There is a video. Good night, light. There is a video, a previous one, I'll have it linked down below, where I do have a recommendation of a book called Boundaries, written by, I forget who the author is, but I'll have a picture up on the screen for you, and of course the link will be in the information box down below. But yeah, and like I said, always check out the description box. There's always recommendations for mental health organizations within Canada and the US that you can access if you need, you know, and are looking for professional help. If there's something specific you can't find, you know, and you're looking for, you know, maybe some personal advice, professional advice on where to, you know, search, or maybe be able to find certain resources, by all means, my contact information, you know, is down below too. So with all that being said, I love you so, so much. And until I see you in my next video, please take care of yourselves and one another. And as always, live, listen, and learn. I love you. Bye.
Gotta love, gotta love, gotta love one another. Gotta love, gotta love, gotta love one another. Gotta love, gotta love, gotta love one another. No matter what